Oklahoma City. Chicago also making some changes. Doug McDermott, he's checked in for Dunleavy. E'Twaun Moore comes in for Butler. And Brooks subbed in for Rose.
You look at Kevin Durant, and he does have a bit of an unusual body type. Still is fairly thin, even after 8 years in the league. Yet up until last season, he's been one of the more durable players in the league. Kind of like Reggie Miller in that regard. Boy, even though he missed, you can't give up that kind of a look very often.
Better to be lucky than good sometimes. Fortunately, they didn't get burned on that one.
Talking about Durant's physical makeup, some scouts were actually worried about his athleticism when he declared for the draft after just 1 year at Texas. At the NBA Combine, Greg, you're talking about this. He posted some of the worst numbers of all the top prospects.
He did, but I tell you what, he did blow people away with his length. 6'10", with a 7'5" arm span. I mean, that makes up for a whole lot in this league. And as we've seen throughout his Hall of Fame career, I think it's worked out pretty nice.
I think it has to. .103 left to play in the first. Waiters gets a wide-open look, and that one's on target from the wing.
And it's like raining buckets right now. I wonder if this is the early stages of a blowout.
Well, we've got to be careful. Don't want to get ahead of ourselves just yet. But it has been pretty ugly so far, no doubt about that.
Rebounded by McDermott.
Yeah, but you have to love that tough interior defense.
And, Greg, that's exactly what he gives you. I mean, he's constantly making his presence felt around the rim.
Here is Durant. He has 5. From deep. Here's Cantor. Noah with the block. It's 9 seconds separating the shot clock and game clock. And that one goes out of bounds. Last touch by Noah. Anthony Morrow's checked in for Durant.
Your Thunder, Anthony Morrow.
23 seconds left to play here in the first. 20 feet out. Shot's good by Waiters. Waiters got 6 points.
They've had assists now on their last 3 baskets.
And it's not just their passing, but also the body movement off the ball that's created a lot of those opportunities.
They get it back. That's good. To the middle. And Cantor throws it down.
No doubt they've come into this game with a really aggressive approach, just pounding the ball inside.
It certainly is working. They're finding the open lanes to the hoop and owning this game early.
And Brooks gets it to go. And a double-digit lead on the scoreboard as we end the first quarter of play. Thunder out in front, up 10. And we'll get things started in the second quarter when we return. And Pau Gasol, after some great years and some difficult years, talks about now his new...
I think it's been noticeable.
I think you'd have to say that Gasol's decision to go to Chicago, Clark, was great. He clearly gave it a lot of thought. It's hard to imagine him having made a better pick.
You know, I agree. Not only is he happy, but so are his teammates. Ask Rose and Noah and Butler. Those guys love playing with him, and you can see how the change of scenery rejuvenated the big Spaniard, too.
And welcome back. It's been all one-sided so far through the first quarter as our second quarter gets underway. And a moment now to look at the scoring approach in terms of where the points are coming from here for the Thunder.
And so far, these guys have done a fantastic job finding the opening man and getting some easy baskets.
They also came out of the locker room with their running shoes on. I mean, their transition game has been full throttle.
Down low, it's the international combo of Ibaka and Adams. Anthony Morrow out there at 4, and it's Waiters in at the 3. That's the group for Oklahoma City getting going here in the second. Bulls trail by 10.
So, you know, Anthony Morrow, one of the real lasers as a long-range bomber in the league. First rookie ever to lead the NBA in three-point percentage. Hit over 46% his first year. There's always a place for a guy like that.
And it's Rose penetrating, and it's blocked by Adams. They recover it. That's good. And that's now 7 points for Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, I think he just sees some things that can be improved and wants to get everybody back on the same page.
And usually that, to me, is a good use of the timeout. I mean, if there's something that he's noticed that can give his team a lift, I think he's got to try to take advantage of that.
Timeout is called, first of the game for the Thunder.
You know, and Billy Donovan, the Oklahoma City Thunder, were able to pull him away from the college game last season, signed him to a 5-year deal in the middle of last year's playoffs.
Catching up on the changes for Oklahoma City. Kevin Durant, he's checked in for Dion Waiters. Andre Robertson comes in for Anthony Morrow. And Russell Westbrook is subbed in for Randy Foye. Bulls trail by 12. And for Billy Donovan, we were talking about him. He had been with Florida for so long, the Gator program built by him. It'll be a big change. He had been thinking about it, though, before. He almost took, remember that Greg the Magic job back in 2007?
You know, there was a change of heart for him with the Orlando gig. And Donovan's done nothing but win at Florida, and he'll have that same pressure to succeed with the high expectations with the Thunder.
It's stolen. To the middle. Here's Durant. And that comes off the assist by Russell Westbrook. Westbrook's got 5 assists in the game. We're now about 2 minutes into the second quarter. Rose attacking. Oh! Boom! And nobody getting in the way.
Not at all. Major throwdown there. The windmill finish. Now that's nasty. How do you do?
Finishes the play. Utter disregard for his own safety.
And his teammates still shaking their heads. You know what? He must have told them to be on the lookout for something.
Look at that jam. Wow. Just beautiful.
Oh, my goodness. He's just getting nasty on them now. Wow.
Yeah, now that they've built up a lead, this is when he really breaks out the... Oh! Did you see that? Man, oh, man.
Now, I would say that's a special occasion for a slam right there,
Well,
Kevin.
what kind of occasion are you talking about? Why was he saving that one? My goodness.
Guys, I'm so glad I was here to witness that with you guys. That's outstanding hang-time improvisation right there.
And with that, the Thunder lead is cut back down to 13 with the basket coming from Portis.
Just the shot they wanted. Point-blank range.
Here's Roberson, and he's good on the 3-ball. Roberson's got 9.
Clearly, they've been the hotter team here in the first half.
Well, they've been grit and grind, working for those high-percentage shots, and quite honestly, it's paid off for them.
And how about that, responding to the three-pointer against them with a quick one of their own.
Terrific little tay-to-tay going on right now. Back and forth. Here we go.
Bulls trail by 13. Well, it was a season last year of heartbreak and change for the Thunder, narrowly missing the playoffs as the Pelicans beat them out for that 8th position.
Yeah, and they were teetering back and forth on that 8th spot for most of the year. Ultimately, they just couldn't hold on to that final playoff spot.
Cantor checked in for Adams. Chicago also making some changes. Taj Gibson's checked in for Portis, and Justin Holiday subbed in for Dunleavy. Gasol with it. Cantor covering. Holiday with the 3. Good, and the assist goes to Gasol.
Guys, for the Thunder, that playoff miss was the first time they didn't make the postseason since their first year in Oklahoma. Fans have really been spoiled with how successful the Thunder have been of late. I think they need to get much more disruptive defensively. They can't just keep allowing these easy baskets.
That's got to be job number 1 right now. Nothing easy on the inside.
Inside. And Durant sends it back. Outside Westbrook. Here's Ibaka, and there's another one for the Thunder.
And the Western playoffs just, it seemed a bit amiss without having the Thunder involved. Westbrook, I tell you what, he did everything he could to try and carry that injured group into the postseason last year, but it just wasn't to be.
Robertson dishes to Durant. And again, Oklahoma City with the triple.
And just a little bit ragged defensively there, Clark.
Well, you knew something was amiss with Durant last year. They eventually shut him down for the entire season after he was injured, which was the safe thing to do, and Greg, the right thing to do.
Absolutely. When you have a franchise player trying to work back from injury, no need to try and get a few more games from him at the risk of derailing his career.
A different look for Oklahoma City. Singler, he's checked in for Ibaka. Dion Waiters comes in for Roberson. And it's Foy in for Russell Westbrook. Chicago also making some changes. Joakim Noah's checked in for Gasol. Mirotic comes in for Jimmy Butler. And it's Brooks in for Derrick Rose.
For Durant, KD did try to return last season, but that foot just wouldn't cooperate, and that's when they had to shut him down.
58 seconds left here in the second. An amazing finish with a hand right in his face. And the Thunder lead by 21.
And he is the ultimate when it comes to being a floor leader on the offensive end.
Yeah, you know, he's got a little bit of Greg Anthony in it. He has been that leader today. I think he's done a really nice job of moving the ball and distributing it the way it needs to be done.
Well, Clark, I'm glad you referenced specifically why you thought he had a little Greg Anthony. I thought you were talking about my knees, my man, because he looked a little hobbled out there for a moment.
They're going to turn it over. They couldn't get it in bounds that time.
One last thing with Durant's foot. Foot injuries can be a scary thing in the NBA. Along with knees, those are the injuries you don't want to risk anything with.
Chicago making a switch here. McDermott's checked in. Bulls always seem to be tough on the road, and last season no different. They would end with 23 road wins on the year.
And that number was good enough for the second most in the East. Unlike shooting, it's very hard for defenses to go cold, and that's why the Bulls have been so good on the road.
Brooks can't get that one to fall.
The shooting numbers just aren't there yet in the quarter.
And he gets the bucket.
They're doing a really good job of getting the ball inside and attacking the paint. That's an area they have completely dominated.
Well, once they recognized the advantage they had inside, it made a lot of sense just to continue to attack that area.
And he gets the bucket. And it's Oklahoma City's ball. They're on a 19-7 run. And that one's good. And that's 12 points for Dion Waiters.
You know, it's really hard not to notice the difference in the passing of these two teams today.
Yeah, it's a stark discrepancy when you look at the assist columns and you see that difference as far as the fluidity in their respective offenses.
That's good. Foy's got 8 points.
Yeah, the drive to the bucket was great, but the finger roll was even better.
That'll be a 5-second call.
Yeah, foolish play. He's got to be thinking out there.
Which he clearly wasn't on that play. Or maybe he was thinking just about something other than basketball.
Well, speaking of thinking, back home, guys, we call that a good old-fashioned brain freeze. You know, the defense has got to do a much better job of fighting over those screens.
And, Greg, especially when the ball is in his hands. I mean, come on now. You know he doesn't miss too many open looks like that.
And so a pretty lopsided game through the first half. Thunder out in front, just dominating this one. And time now to go courtside as we send you over to Doris Burke from the sideline. Doris?
Kevin, what has allowed you to build this lead and get some separation here?
Well, we've just been playing hard. Those guys are tough to guard. They cut so hard. They play well together, and we had a decent half. We got to keep it going.
Kevin, you've earned a rest.
And now, the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Well, 2 quarters down, 2 to go. Welcome back, Ernie Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, and Kenny the Jet Smith as we start breaking it down for you. Oklahoma City has the edge here at